Hello everyone, I'm Eryawan and let me introduce you to my research paper exploring Indonesian consumer health question answering utilizing active multi-retrieval. And this paper is actually submitted to one of the Indonesian national competition held by the Ministry of Education. We ended up getting a silver medal on this paper. Next, the agenda will be background, related work, methodology, experiment, and the last one is the features work. And the first one is the background. The first background is healthcare inequality and accessibility. Arisantia et al. In 2023 on her paper assessing service availability and accessibility of healthcare facilities in Indonesia, she proved that there exists inequality and accessibility quantitatively using a modern statistics approach. And then the second background is geographical and healthcare challenges in Indonesia. Uh, Agustina in 2019 proved that uh, one of the challenges of Indonesian is actually because of Indonesia is an archipelago country. And the solution provided by Dr. Darmawan Lee in 2020 in one of his articles, Why It Matters, Lack of Healthcare Services in Indonesian Remote Areas, he was viral long years ago because of his project that he initiated on. He initiated a hospital ship in which he traveled along with a ship of hospital across Indonesian archipelago. Uh, and following this, Dr. Lee Darmawan Saiselo et al. In 2020, he also published a paper in the same journey, which utilizing hospital ship. And then, what about the other country? So the third background is on the telemedicine as a global solution. So LG Finray Ruten in 2019 said that uh, nowadays, especially men, are seeking online information on behalf of their health. So they are not coming directly to the hospital. They are seeking online information, and it proven by the Kuhan in 2013, far before, more than one third of U.S. individuals use the internet to self diagnose, in which 2013 is far beyond big trend of the internet. And then on another country, project on another country that have been initiated is 14 et al., Angelopoulos et al., Martiniok et al., and also Nakabo et al., in which they are coming from Greece, Canada, and also Japan. And the one hypothesis that might come is maybe because another country telecommunication is actually far better than Indonesian telecommunication. And actually, Compass.com in 2018, in their article, said that 95% uh, of Kepulauan Seribu archipelago is actually covered by the Telkomsel, which is one of the Indonesian state-owned telecommunication company, which means that telecommunication is not the problem here. And then Coman et al. On physician perception of the use of chatbot for information seeking, a qualitative study in 2020, said that in order for physician to diagnose something, source of his or her information were self-knowledge, online resources, and peer discussion. And based on the history of every neural network architecture, every success neural network architecture are tied to the philosophical thinking to mimic real life. So here we try to mimic uh, philosopher to diagnose something based on this Corman papers, which is self-knowledge modeled by LLM on a resource modeled by RAG and peer discussion that we haven't modeled on this research paper. And then next, related work, let's get into a little bit technical language model and large language model. It all possible because of the work Vaswani did in 2017, attention is all you need. Uh, Far before 2017, the language model is suffer from a concept called catastrophic forgetting. It is basically that the information is missing given a long paragraph of text. So you cannot put a really huge text. The information will always be missing using architecture before Vaswani. And Kaplan state that architecture is not the problem anymore. We always we could ended up with a better predictive performance using a bigger neural network architecture, costing in computational cost. And Radford et al. In 2019 said that language models are unsupervised multi-running tasks. This is important because that means language model, especially the large one, you don't need a human interference to train this model. You only need to put a bunch of document and text in order to train them. You don't need any human anymore uh, to label them one by one. And then retrieve augmented generation, the first book is actually by Jiang in 2020, in which how can we know what language model know, in which he outlined the problem that language model are suffer is called hallucination, in which the model outputs something that is not uh, true. And Lewis is the first solution in which he introduce retrieval augmented generation in which we utilize knowledge from the database. We retrieve knowledge from the database. And our main source, which is Jiang et al. In 2023, active retrieval augmented generation, which is modified a little bit, but the retrieval, we retrieve we retrieve the documents every time we encounter allow word probability. So when we predict allow probability output, we retrieve and we hope that based on these new documents, we want a better answer, a more confidence. And then based on the medical reference, we got Goel, machine learning based healthcare chatbot, which is just English consumer that utilize text matching with their database. And then Manatunga, English professional health chatbot utilizing RAG and focusing more on a representative vector summarization. And also Jiang, that is our main resource, active retrieval augmented generation, but it is focused on more English general chatbot. So our work is more of a single, multi, and active, but it is for Indonesian language and also consumer health. And then the methodology, we will break down the methodology, the objective into two parts, each for each model, answering a candidate retrieval, which is the retrieval or retrieving documents, and then the answer generator, which is the generating answer of the language model. And then the data set, we have three data sets, doctor forums, disease information, and drugs description. Three class of these documents is actually taken from allodoctor.com. And then the answer candidate retrieval or the retrieval will utilizing Colbert, which is the newest state of the art, utilizing neural network. And uh, the the retrieval comparison that we will compare in this paper is actually the first one, the direct prompting, in which we doesn't retrieve anything. It doesn't involve RAG. The return is just empty. And then the single retrieval in which we retrieve only the documents from a single database. Multi-retrieval, we retrieve a lot of documents. We retrieve K documents, each from a single database, in which in this paper, we retrieve from disease database and also drugs database. And then the answer candidate generation, in which the next word tokens, we model this using a methodology called causal language modeling, in which next word token is actually predicted as the maximum probabilities among possible words, and also given the retrieve document, also given the query of the users. And we will utilize active retrieval here, which means that whenever the models output a low probability, we retrieve the documents from our database. We ask the model to generate. We ask the model to keep regenerate until the probability is higher than given a threshold that we set earlier. So that way we force the model to output high probability. And then the generation decoding strategy, we compare to different decoding strategy. The first one is greedy search, in which we just choose the maximum probabilities among the word. In this example, for example, United is the one that has highest probability. So we just outputting a United directly. But another approach suggested by another researcher is actually top K sampling, which means we choose K, for example, K equal to 3. So we choose top 3 here, and we just random weighted random sampled by their probability choosing this K. And we will answer this why we need top case sampling. So the result of our experiment, the first one is predictive and performance improvement with Colbert, even with a little data set. This is because Colbert is actually not a model; it is a framework. So the base model that we integrate with Colbert is actually Indobird, that actually already trained on Indonesian social media. So we don't need a lot of more data sets. And actually, in our research paper, we said that the bottleneck is not in our retrieval model; it's the retrieval models are already best. The bottleneck is on the generator model. So the next one is direct prompting is sensitive to the input query, abbreviation, and jargon because there isn't any relevant document that the model could refer on. And then active and multi-retrieval integration outperform single retrieval methods in providing more complete and descriptive answer because in multi-retrieval, we force the model to have a resource to access to a resource in disease database in drugs database and also in a Q&A database. So the model are forced to use three information in which they of course we will provide a complete and descriptive answer. And then token level active retrieval might count on forever loop because whenever there exists cases when we encounter a low probability token and we retrieve documents from the retrieval, the probability is not increasing. That means that the document that we retrieve is not helping. So that's why we only keep retrieving without getting higher probability output. And then OpenEarth Cooperative is the best open source model, outperforming Llama, published by Google, published by Meta, sorry. And the last one is top K. The coding strategy variate the sentence output, but the meaning is still the same. It's like the output is synonymous. So that top K decoding strategy is used. So we still proposing greedy strategy because of the output will be deterministic, and in this strict domain we don't want any probabilistic output. We want a responsible deterministic output. Okay, now the features work. The first one is will be LLM peer discussion. That is because in the earlier my presentation I said that doctors is usually is utilizing their self knowledge, their resource, and the last one is discussing among doctors. So LLM peer discussion is the one that haven't been modeled in this research paper. So doctor discussing among doctors equivalent to LLM discussing among LLM. That might sounds funny, but I think that's a approach that we should take in the future. And then the other one is expand datasets coverage. This is because in the case of active retrieval, when the model retrieving when the model encounter a low word probability, uh, and the model retrieve the documents. If the document is not relevant, the model will always ended up in a low probability token forever. So that way we have to expand the dataset coverage, making sure that after the retrieval, uh, the model could increase the probability, the model could be more certain about their answer. And then the next one, fine-tuning LLMs in consumer health domain, because in this research paper, we haven't fine-tuned any LLM, we only utilize RAG. And then the last one is develop hallucination safety layers. This is because uh, this is because we are inspired by the how the llama guard works. Llama guard work is uh, creating a new layer, a new input layer that filters the output of llama. So llama doesn't really outputting anything inappropriate like a racist sentence or anything else. So I think that's all for me. I'm Arya, and thank you.